In this video, I'm going to teach you how to play Know Thyself, both the 2-player version and the 3- and 4-player version of the game. So we're going to start with the 2-player version of the game. So you take all of the pieces out of the box. You've got obviously your main archetype cards. These are the large cards. The smaller cards, they're called depth cards. You've got the pledge, your book of rules, scorepad and pen. You've got your resonance dials. These are your voting chips. So basically with these ones, you just have to put these together. So you're going to pop out the card and you're going to take one rivet, a back and front of the rivet, you're going to put them together, the navy blue on top, the yellow on the bottom, and you're going to basically snap the rivets together. And there's going to be a little bit of give, a little bit of resistance when you move these dials. And then the final piece of the setup is to set up the 2-player board. Once everything is set up, you're ready to play the game. Now, before we actually do play the game, you have to do a couple of very important pre-game rituals. The first of which is you take your mobile phones, put them on silent or airplane mode, put them in the box and close the box. Know Thyself is a game of communication. It's a game of connection between people. We cannot do that if our phone is buzzing, notifications are going off, we're replying to messages, etc. The second pre-game ritual is called the pledge. It's very, very important. Know Thyself is a deep game. You're going to be discussing parts of the human personality, and it does go pretty deep, pretty quick. So what the pledge does is it sets the tone and the spirit of the game so that people understand exactly what they're signing up for, what they're getting themselves into. The way that it works is that you take a hand of the person you're playing with, one person reads it out, the final words on the pledge are, do you agree? If the answer is yes, you're ready to play the game. So toss a coin and decide who's going to go first. I'm going to be player 1, so I would sit on this side of the board. In a conventional board game, you might sit opposite the person, but with Know Thyself, you're going to sit side by side. So have that person sat here, have the board somewhere in the middle so you can both read the board. Person on the left is player 1, in this case it's me. So the first thing that you do is you take a depth card, read the question out, and then I answer the question on that card. The person that draws the card answers the question, okay? Once I've answered that question, and if there are any follow-ups, I'll answer them as well, discard that card, and then you take an archetype card. This is a large card. You're going to lay it down the middle of the board and you're going to read out what is on that card. And you make sure that both of you understand very clearly exactly what that card represents. You're then going to cast 2 votes. I will cast 2 votes. How do I align? And how does the other person align? So alignment is based on a score from 1 to 5. 1 means you don't think you match up very closely at all. 5 means that you align very strongly to that card. And you're going to place that on how do I align. On the how do they align, I'm going to be guessing on how the other person matches up with this card. So from what I know of them, the experiences I've had with them, the stories or the things that we've shared, I would make an educated guess as to how they match up. So I place my votes face down, so no one can see what I voted, and the other player would also vote based on how they align and how they think I align on their side of the board. Once all the votes are cast, because I am player 1 and I pulled the depth card and I pulled the archetype card, I will then reveal my vote first. And I can pick either vote. I can either choose how closely I think I align or how closely I think the other person aligns. So in this case, I'm going to choose how closely I think I align. And I've given myself a 5, and I would explain why I gave myself a 5. I would give anecdotes, stories, examples. I'd rationalize my decisions. And once that conversation has been had, the other player will reveal their first vote. And their first vote must be the opposite vote to the one that I pulled. So because I pulled this one, how do I align? They must pull how do they align. After that conversation has been had, I reveal how I think they align, and their final vote is how they align, how they think they match up to the card. Once all the votes are revealed and the conversations have been had, it's time to tally the scores. You can win 1 point per round, and you win a point if you correctly guess what the player gave themselves. So in practice, if I gave myself a 5 and the other player guessed that I was also a 5, they would win 1 point. Okay? And in this instance, they gave me a 4, they thought I was a 4 in reference to the libertarian, I gave myself a 1, so there are no points given. After scores have been tallied, you write them down on the scorepad. Votes are returned to each player, the archetype card is discarded, and it's now player 2's turn to do everything again. So they would reveal a depth card, they would answer that depth card, they would reveal an archetype card, we then both cast 2 votes. They would reveal their vote first, their first vote first. I would reveal the opposite vote. Then they would reveal their third vote and I would reveal the 4th vote. After 60 minutes are up, and we've had plenty of cards, the person with the most scores is declared the winner. Now the setup of the 3 to 4 player version of the game is very similar to the 2-player game with one key difference. Each person gets 1 resonance dial rather than 2, and try to sit people roughly around the quadrant that they are facing on the board. So now that we've got the setup ready, we go through our pre-game rituals. The pre-game rituals are exactly the same as the 2-player game. You open the box, phones on silent, phones in the box, close the box. You're going to take the pledge, everyone's hand in the middle, one person reads the pledge, and when you read the pledge, the final words on the pledge are, do you agree? If everyone agrees, you're good to go. The way that the 4-player version works is that the person who is the focus, that is the yellow side of the board first, goes first. So they would take a depth card, they would read it out, then they would answer to everyone else, and then they discard that depth card. Then they would immediately take an archetype card and lay it down on the board. They would read the archetype out loud. When everyone understands exactly what this card means, it's time to vote. Now, I being the focus, I will guess, or I will predict how closely I match up to this card. So if I think I'm extremely diplomatic, I might give myself a 5 or a 4, not very much, a 1 or a 2, somewhere in the middle, I give myself a 3. I'm going to cast my vote and lay it down, face down on the board. Everyone else is going to cast their vote, how closely they think I, the focus, matches up to that card. So each of the other players would think, how diplomatic is this person? And they're going to give me a score from 1 to 5 to represent how much I align. Don't forget, all votes are cast face down. At this point, we start to reveal the votes, and the order that we reveal the votes is very important. The person to the left of the focus, I am the focus in this round, is the first to reveal their vote. So this person here would reveal their vote. They gave me a 5, and they would explain why. The next person would give me a 1, explain why. The next person would reveal their vote, they gave me a 2, and they would explain why they gave me a 2. Once that conversation's been had, it's time for me to reveal my vote. I gave myself a 3, and I would rationalize why I gave myself a 3. So the focus is always the last person to reveal their score, their vote. Once all those conversations have been had, it's time to tally the scores. If somebody guesses the same as the focus, both the focus and that player get 1 point. Let's see how that works in practice. Here, if this person gave me a 5 and I gave myself a 5, we both win 1 point. This person gave me a 2 and I gave myself a 5, that's no points. Okay, so once again, every round, the focus can score 3 points, and the people who are voting on the focus get 1 point each. So you note down your scores on the score pad, and once all the scores are tallied, it's time to basically give the voting chips back, discard the archetype card. Then the board is rotated clockwise to the next player, and they then become the focus. So they would reveal the depth card, speak it out loud, answer that question. Then they would reveal an archetype card, lay it in the middle. Once everyone understands what the archetype means, we all vote. Remember, votes are revealed to the left of the archetype all the way around. The last person to reveal their vote is the focus and explain why. And that is another round completed. Now, once everybody has been the focus once, that is 1 complete cycle. And this game ends with a designated number of cycles. So you could do 2 cycles where everyone has been the focus twice, that would be 8 cards. Or 3 cycles, that would be 12 cards. Okay? You cannot stop the game where he's been a focus once and everyone else has been a focus twice. Everyone has to be a focus the same amount of times. So once the number of cycles that you agree on has been completed, you tally up the scores, and the person with the most scores is declared the winner.